Everyone in the office thought Daniel Brooks had lost everything the moment CEO Vanessa Carter fired him in front of hundreds of employees during the company's annual conference. What nobody knew was that just 90 days later, the same poor, single dad would walk back into that building as her new boss. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? And are you enjoying these emotional stories? Your support and feedback truly help us create even better content. So don't forget to subscribe and become part of our family. Daniel stood there in his worn gray suit, holding the small birthday gift he had planned to give his 7-year-old son after work. While whispers spread through the ballroom and security waited near the doors like he was some kind of criminal, Vanessa accused him of failing an important financial review. Embarrassing the company and costing investors millions. But Daniel never argued, never raised his voice, and never begged to keep his position, because deep down, he already understood something most people in that room did not. Powerful people often judge the wrong person too quickly. 3 months earlier, Daniel had been one of the hardest working employees inside Carter Global Holdings, arriving before sunrise every morning while balancing the impossible responsibility of raising his son Ethan alone after losing his wife to illness 4 years earlier. His life was built around sacrifice, unpaid bills, school lunches, and late-night overtime shifts that nobody noticed. Every evening he rushed from the office to pick Ethan up from a neighbor's apartment before daycare penalties increased again, and every night he promised his son that things would get better even when he no longer believed it himself. The day Vanessa fired him happened to be Ethan's birthday, and Daniel had spent his last savings on a small remote-control airplane hidden inside his office drawer, because he refused to let his son feel poor on the one day meant to feel magical. But after being publicly humiliated and escorted from the building, Daniel sat alone in his old car outside the office parking lot, staring at the wrapped gift while trying to figure out how to explain unemployment to a child who still believed his father could fix anything. What nobody inside Carter Global knew was that the financial disaster Vanessa blamed on Daniel had actually been caused by corruption hidden deep inside the company's executive board. Daniel had discovered suspicious transactions weeks earlier and quietly documented everything before reporting concerns to upper management, but instead of investigating the fraud, executives panicked and used him as the easiest scapegoat to protect themselves. Losing his job destroyed what little stability he had left. Rent notices piled up, his truck nearly broke down twice, and Daniel started doing accounting work for tiny local businesses just to survive while Ethan slept on the couch beside him during late nights at the kitchen table. Yet through all the exhaustion, Daniel never became bitter. He focused on his son, helped neighbors for free whenever he could, and slowly built a reputation among small business owners as someone unbelievably honest and intelligent. One evening, a retired investor named Leonard Whitmore visited the local repair cafe where Daniel was helping organize financial records for struggling families. Leonard quietly observed the way Daniel treated people with patience, integrity, and calm leadership even while clearly struggling himself. After learning about Daniel's past at Carter Global, Leonard started investigating the company independently and uncovered massive executive fraud tied directly to several board members, including evidence proving Daniel had tried warning them months earlier. The scandal exploded across financial news within weeks. Investors panicked, board members resigned overnight, and Vanessa Carter found herself facing lawsuits, collapsing stock prices, and public humiliation far worse than the embarrassment she once caused Daniel. Then came the moment nobody expected. Leonard Whitmore revealed he had quietly acquired controlling interest in Carter Global through emergency restructuring deals, and his very first decision shocked the entire company. He appointed Daniel Brooks as the new chairman overseeing corporate recovery because, in Leonard's words, a company survives on integrity, not ego. 90 days after being fired in front of everyone, Daniel walked back into the same headquarters wearing the same simple gray suit, except this time, executives stood when he entered the room. Employees who once ignored him now watched in stunned silence as the poor single dad they underestimated calmly took control of the company. Vanessa sat frozen at the far end of the boardroom table while Daniel addressed The leadership team without anger, arrogance, or revenge in his voice. Instead, he spoke about accountability, honesty, and the responsibility leaders have toward ordinary workers whose lives are affected by executive decisions. When the meeting ended, Vanessa privately apologized for humiliating him months earlier, admitting she judged him based on status instead of character. Daniel listened quietly before telling her something she would never forget. The strongest people aren't the ones with power. They're the ones who keep going after losing everything. That evening, Daniel left the office early for the first time in years and drove home carrying a birthday cake for Ethan because during all the chaos of rebuilding his life, he had never forgotten the promise he made to his son. That one day things really would get better.